Hi, everyone. I am so excited because I am speaking with author Nancy Kilgore on her brand new book. You can see it behind her head, but she's going to hold it up for us. Also, Bitter Magic comes out August 10th. Let's just talk about this cover for a second, Nancy, before we even get into this story, because I have it on my Kindle, so I love seeing it like that. It is beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
I agree. I love this cover.
I just, I mean,
Luckily, my publisher said I could choose my own designer, so I found somebody who I really liked online, and she did it.
I think it's beautiful, and even in the poster behind you, it just pops. And I love when the bitter magic, like, and as somebody who has one of those book stands that you're constantly, trying to organize according to like Pinterest, and I love when I get a cover like this that I can organize. So that's just the that's just selfish of me too, but. This story, oh my gosh. You know what I kept thinking about? And then I'm going to let you tell everyone the story. But I'm probably older than you. I don't know. We're
Yeah, I think so.
the same. I don't know. I'm 56. So what I kept thinking about is that there is something in us because as a little girl, I was growing up with Bewitched. I
Yeah,
dream of Jeannie. Okay. But and it sounds silly, but as a little girl, as much as we looked at it, it was like, oh, that's fun. I was like, there's some, I want to do that. I want to do that. I want to, I want to just
I want to do magic. Yeah,
do magic. I want to, pop my eyes closed and be in a bottle. I want to do that. Her bottle
yeah,
is so cool. I want to escape from my parents and have my own bottle. And then, with Bewitched, it was like, I want to have people visit me from other realms, right? Like it's
yeah.
it seems like it's in us. It's there. And I am a Christian. I was raised a Christian, but I've always been I've had family members too who have encouraged my mom, my grandmother, that there's something else, that there's other things that we don't know about. And so that's why I was so happy to read this book. I am also so happy that Amazon put it under historical fiction because I think it also needs to be there. And I was really happy to see that category. I always check that out because I know it matters. But I'm going to let you tell everyone how you found this story because I already know because I read the end. So,
Yeah, my author's notes tell us. Yeah, yeah. Well, it was a process. I mean, writing a book, and finding the ideas, it sort of snowballs as you go. And this was something where I was looking up some ancestors in Scotland, and they were Covenanters, and I didn't know what that meant. So I looked, and then I found that they were actually the people who started the Scottish Reformation, but then they got sort of marginalized later on. But they, I found out too that they were also at the heart of the witch craze. So these people that I had grown up thinking were, so idealistic and good social justice, and they wanted a new society, and but at the same time they were persecuting women as witches. So then I found in this one community, I found the story of Isabel Gowdy, pretty famous confessed witch in
yeah.
Scotland.
Yeah. How much do you want to tell us like about her story? And we don't give away anything because I really want everybody to discover her the way I did and the way you did, but give them a little, something.
Well, Isabel was, and all the information I got about Isabel directly was from her confession. And her confession was over 4 weeks, and it was a very extensive verbatim confession. And as opposed to a lot of witchcraft confessions, which follow a formula, Isabel really elaborated on her story, and in some ways she followed the formula. She said, "Yes, I did have intercourse with the devil, but you know." And then she described the devil and all these cloven hooves and how big he was, and so she was very elaborate in her descriptions. Um, So now, what? I've forgotten the question now.
No, I just wanted you to give us like just a little bit about her and what you found out about her, because it's fascinating. Like I said, like there's something, I don't know, how did you feel about it? Like I know you're a minister, right? Yeah. How do you, like, do you tear the two apart, or do you kind of combine it, or like where do you put it in your brain? So you can tell me.
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, it's sort of two sides of me because I was a feminist. I still am a feminist, and grew up as a young person um, interested in earth-based spirituality, and lived on a commune and an ashram, and so then I came around to being Presbyterian, and but there were still these two different, these different parts of me. So this story really was a challenge to look at, and to look at without stereotyping either side.
Mm.
Because I think often you read a witch novel and it's the good woman, the herbalist, and then bad Christians who, persecute her. And there was a lot of that. I mean, that did happen. But what I found with Isabel is she wasn't particularly, all about sunlight and magic and good magic, as you found out when you read it.
Yeah, I mean, and you can understand the fear, right, of the people that prosecuted witches.
Mhm.
It was huge fear. I mean, they took parts of the Bible and they felt very justified. They felt like they had to eliminate, right? I mean, it was,
Exactly.
so to not judge them for that, it's hard, but like you said, she kind of dabbled in some stuff, and then so then it was like, okay, the what is it like in the Wizard of Oz? It's like the good witch and the bad witch. You got all kinds of things going on, but I don't know. I thought the story was real. You know what I loved, and I am not the only person, because like I told you before, I go on Goodreads after I'm done because I like to see what other people pick up and see if I can resonate. And as I was reading it, I am like, I would consider myself above average in history, especially that time period. I'm
Oh,
very,
so you know something about it. That's
I
great.
do. I do. And I watch a lot of documentaries, and, so I consider myself, but when you were giving information, and I was like, oh, I'm so glad she's doing that, because I knew it, but I'm not normal. Like, not everybody knows this, but
Oh,
people were really appreciating the detail that you went into so they could kind of place what was going on in history during this time, which is why it's historical fiction. But how hard was that for you? I mean, was that very hard for you to like get all those details, or do you find that really fun, like me, like, because I'm pretty weird about it?
both, both. It was hard and it was fun.
Mhm.
It was a little intimidating at first because my other two novels are not historical novels.
Mhm.
And so when I got this idea, I thought, oh, well, how can I write about real people? And so I sort of wavered between trying to get all the details exactly right and then, trying to make a credible story, which didn't, you can't do with exact historical facts.
Right. But I enjoyed it. I mean, because I like placing that, that makes me happy. And as I saw, it made a lot of people happy. So I'm really
Oh,
glad that you went
thanks.
to that.
Yeah.
Because I know it's work, but and for some of us who it's kind of like we know it, it's like, oh, doesn't everybody know? You kind of feel like, am I telling them something they already know? But no, most people don't. No, most people are not well versed in that time period. And so
Exactly.
the way that you described it, I felt like I was right there. I was like, yes, I'm here. You got me. I'm right there. And
Oh,
I love that. Yeah. Are you
thanks.
do you think you'll write historical fiction again? Did you enjoy it?
I did. It took a long time, because I kept going back to looking at the research, and I actually did take a trip to Scotland too. Uh,
Oh,
And but I'm thinking no, I might write a story about the 20th century.
Yeah,
Um,
you might come in on
that, which is now historical,
which
right?
is a lot of it. Yeah, I know it's crazy what they now consider historical fiction because I'm like, wait, wasn't that just how that historical fiction? But I love historical fiction, obviously. Like I like history books, I like historical fiction. And what I also kept thinking about your writing, and now when I went on your website and saw that you coach also, you are a writing coach. I kept thinking there are some books or some historical fiction that I'm like, oh, this is just fun. But I felt like yours was written so classically, and I really enjoyed that
Oh,
because
what do you mean by classically?
um, like in a Jane Eyre kind of like I'm a classic reader, and there are some books that I read and I'm like, ooh, now this could be a classic. You know,
Oh,
this is like puts history in it. I feel like your writing was just so much fun to read. And so I just had to tell you that because I did have that thought as I was reading it. I was like, oh, this is really good. And then I saw you were, I'm like, okay, well, she's a writing coach, but you know, and it takes people who are really, I mean, I've read some of the reviews of your coaching and you've helped a lot of people, but your writing is exquisite.
oh, well, thanks, Michelle.
Yeah.
I grew up with those classic novels, Jane Eyre and Thomas Hardy was one of my favorites. And
Yeah. Oh, I can tell. Let's just put it that way. I can tell in your writing.
uh, that's great. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The most challenging thing was trying to put myself in the mind of those people. Like,
Yeah.
what would this, you know, what it was a world that's so different from ours in some ways that just understanding that, as you mentioned, the fear, the atmosphere of revenge. People did not feel safe. There was so many wars going on between the Protestants and the Catholics and the English and the Scots, and um, so it was a different
And
atmosphere.
and kind of we can understand it now because we're living in a world of fear. You know, what are we living in? So you
Yeah,
understand what people will do when they're afraid. You know,
right.
like I stayed in my house for a year because I was afraid. Like, you know, people will go to extreme things. And if they think there's someone out there that's hurting their community in some way, that's why it's hard, you know, like I as much as I feel for them, I also see that the judgment of them is of the persecutors is also you can see their side too. But okay, so did you walk away with like a different feeling about magic, feeling about something? Because I did, but that's me, you know.
You mean after reading this book?
Yeah,
What was different for you?
it wasn't. uh, I shouldn't say different, but it made me like I don't know, it made me happy. It made me believe that there's so much we don't know, but when we act like we do know, which there are a lot of people that act like we do know everything and we do know what's going to happen when we die and what's going to I felt like it gave me that like we don't know. We don't know. There's so much we don't know and for some reason that makes me happy because I like to believe, like I said, I like to believe that there's and something else. Let's put it that way.
I mean, this world that Isabel was, part of, this her other world was really very prevalent. Everybody actually believed in fairies in those days, and even the Christians. That's why they were so afraid. They thought the fairy world was evil, and these cunning women were the embodiment of the devil, the demons, and
Right.
that's why it was okay to torture and kill them. You had to get rid of them. And as you say, it was all based on fear.
I
Um,
always thought if I wrote a book, I would write about fairies. I just love that the concept of that. You know, I go back and forth like angels, fairies, but you know, like kind of the same thing, but a little bit different. But fairies have this more I don't know. Fairies look so cute. And so like, I think Tinkerbell started that for me, you know, really. But I, you know, if you want to go back, but it's just that the fact that there could be this other world is just fascinating to me,
That there's other realm of beings that are existing,
right?
like right in our same uh, place and time, and we
Yeah,
can't see them. And that whole thing of looking in at what else is there, what's beyond, but
yeah,
is right here at the same time. I
yeah,
mean, in some ways, that's the impulse towards religion. You
yeah,
know, how can I find something greater than myself, but within myself?
right. Well, you know, when I don't know how many children you have or if you have children, but I always thought like when my newborns would look around, that's when I really like I was like, what do they I never thought that they just saw nothing. Like
Yeah,
some people are like, oh, their eyes just wander. That's what newborns do. But sometimes they focus on something, like it's a blank wall as far as we can see. And you're like, what do they see? What do they see that as we grow up, we can't see anymore because
yeah,
we're untrained to be able to see, you
yeah.
know?
Being so new in this world,
Yeah. Yes, so that's, that's my that's how but it was so much fun. So much fun. And I can't wait to see what it does because you already have so many reviews. I think it's going to be a very exciting week for you, coming up and the release of it. Do you still get really excited about your book releases?
Yeah, not as much as with my first one. With the first book, you could go, oh my gosh, I wrote a book. You know,
I finished a book, right?
I actually wrote a book, and yeah, it's like, oh, can't believe it. But now,
But
it is.
now you've got three.
Mhm.
And that's amazing to me, because sometimes authors can write one book and then they they can't come up with a concept for the next one, but you've got three under your belt now, so you can just keep going. But show everybody the cover again, even though I'm going to have it up on the screen does not do it justice as much as that. Can you show us the binding too for book lovers? They love to see.
Oh,
There you
mm.
go. They love, yeah, exactly.
This is an advanced copy, and the back cover print is way too small, so they're gonna.
Yeah, the back of, but
Yeah,
the binding we can see, and
yeah.
I love seeing that. So everyone go, you can pre-order it now on Amazon and you'll have it right away. And I think it's even under, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think Kindle Unlimited has it at the moment.
Yes.
Yes. So for those of us who are Kindle Unlimited, you can also get it that way. Thank you so much. And it was such a
Thank you,
pleasure to read
Michelle.
your book. It really was. It was so much fun. I really enjoyed it.
Well, it was great to talk to you. Thank you.
Yes, and maybe for the next one, right? You know where to find me. All right. Have a great day.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
You too.